It gives me great pleasure to introduce you to our amazing keynote speaker, Christi Maherry. Christi is the co-founder and chairman of Law Trust Information Security Solutions. Christi is a social activist passionate about female empowerment and education. She is no novice to awards programs, as she herself was named the winner of the EY World Entrepreneur Awards Southern Africa in the Emerging category. Christi is also an alumnus of the EY Entrepreneurial Winning Women program, and she is also a member of the Women's President Organization. Please join me in giving a warm virtual welcome to Christi Maherry.
Thank you very much for the intro, Kath. I'm excited to be here today and share my journey to purpose with you. Mark Twain famously said that the two most important days in your life is the day you're born and the day you found out why. I've always pursued a life of purpose. Fighting injustice and protecting people and helping others to live a meaningful life is my passion. Growing up, I never thought that I'll become an entrepreneur. I always wanted to be a spy or in the security forces. As a girl, I firmly believed that what men can do, women can do better. I never even questioned it, and it was only after meeting Billie Jean King at the EY Strategic Growth Forum in Palm Springs I realized that I was probably influenced by the battle of the sexes tennis game when I was a little girl. So after school, I managed to get into the intelligence services, and boy, was that a wake-up call for me. In the late 80s, women were not allowed to be operationally deployed. So my first job was steaming open envelopes and listening to telephone recordings of government enemies. This was not the purpose that I had in mind. This was also not how I'm going to be able to fulfill my purpose. I never take no for an answer, so after 2 years and many motivations and assessments, I became an operational agent. It was such an exciting time in our country's history. Nelson Mandela was released from prison, and the transformational energy was empowering as the rest of the world welcomed us back. At the time, I realized that all my male counterparts were traveling the world, protecting the president and the cabinet ministers. When I encountered about it, I was told that I had to pass a grueling 3-month VIP protection course and that no woman could be able to pass the course. That didn't stop me. So eventually I was allowed to attempt the course, and much to everyone's surprise, I passed and officially became a VIP protection agent. Throughout my career, I've always been able to break down barriers and glass ceilings, liberating other women to follow in my footsteps. I loved every aspect of my job. As a 23-year-old, I traveled the world, had tea in the White House, and I met my idol, the Iron Lady, Margaret Thatcher. So this went on for a few years until my cover was blown by the British press. I used to travel with the president as his secretary, very much under the radar. But on this occasion, after arriving at Heathrow on an official visit, articles appeared on the front pages of the British tabloids about the 007 blonde that guards the president. The media frenzy meant that I was attracting too much attention, and the risk was too high for me to remain on the president's detail. I was then transferred to a regional office, and after a few months, I knew that I had to pivot my life. I had to reskill myself. I couldn't do much with lockpicking and unarmed combat as a civilian. So I had to mine my life story for common threads, enabling me to connect with my vision and the impact that I wanted to make in the world by living my purpose. I think once you can articulate your purpose, you will find the courage to live it. This was around the time when the internet gained more adoption, so I went out, bought a PC, and enrolled for a few tech courses, and was offered a position at a major IT company where I could apply my security skills in the field of cyber threats and cyber warfare. I worked in corporate for about 5 years to learn as much as possible about the private sector and business. At the time, I did a business management program, and it was the first time that I was exposed to the concept of entrepreneurship. I knew then that I'm a risk taker and I wanted to start my own venture. So in 2006, I co-founded Law Trust, which focused on providing security and trust in the digital world. The purpose was to be involved with significant projects where we can make a difference in fighting cybercrime by securing transactions, communications, and identities of people. organizations and governments. So we bootstrapped the business and we grew organically from a two-man shop to one of the top cybersecurity companies in Africa. In 2017, I even won the EY Entrepreneur Award for the emerging category for Southern Africa. Even though we operated as a corporate, I could continue living my purpose through our vision to secure the digital world. We touch the life of people every day by protecting billions of transactions through the banking system, and we ensure the integrity of the national ID card and protect the population register that manage birth, marriage, and death certificates. Having my own business also enabled me to create opportunities for people to grow and help them live a meaningful life. I continue to empower women, teaching them to raise their hands high, and I invite them to take a seat at the table. We live in a country with great inequality. People didn't grow up with the same opportunities that I did. A few years ago, I took along our office cleaner on a company getaway and had her participate in all the activities. One of them was to visualize where you see yourself in 5 years. Well, she said she wanted to be the MD of her own IT company. When we went back to the office, I called her in and I said to her, "So how are you going to do this?" At the time, she didn't even complete high school. So I said I'll pay for her studies, and I sort of forgot about it. And then 2 years later, she came into my office with a big smile and tears in her eyes. She managed to pass her final year and even got a distinction for maths. She's now an analyst in our test center of excellence. She used to live in a shack in a township and only needed an opportunity. Her daughter is now in university through a law trust bursary. We actually have quite a few stories in our organization like that. So in 2016, I joined the board of Junior Achievement Africa. They are affiliated to JA Worldwide, one of the oldest NGOs in the world. JA Africa is operated in 16 African countries, and we unlock the economic potential of African youth by educating them in entrepreneurial skills and work readiness and financial literacy. EY is actually one of our global sponsors and actually participate on our board. I believe that if you do good, you will do well. So when we started our business, our goal was to issue a digital identity for every citizen in the country. We actually achieved this in 2013 by winning the national ID card tender for 55 million users. At the time, we were about 10 people in the business. So after winning this tender, we experienced major scaling issues. I did not know about the pitfalls of growing your business too fast. We had tight deadlines, and I had to take all my resources and focus them on this project. So we started disappointing some of our existing customers. It was a tough lesson to swallow when one of my banking customers told me that it seems as if Law Trust has outgrown its own capacity. We survived and we've grown. No guts, no glory. Courage is a habit that you need to practice every day. I've learned the value of implementing systems and metrics to assist me with scaling the business. In 2020, when COVID caught the whole world off guard, we were saved by all the digital systems that we had in place. Our whole country went into a tight lockdown with our only 2 days' notice. But our business was not disrupted at all. We could gear up to exploit all the new opportunities created by the increased demand for digital signatures and digital security solutions. We actually had our best financial year in the company's history during the pandemic. Once everything was stabilized and we all got used to the new normal, I started appreciating the pause. Not being in a different country every second week provided me with the personal time to do an audit on my own life. I started to think about my next. I got exposed to the horrendous crime of human trafficking a few years ago while we were protecting the population register. At the time, people were smuggled to a sorting center in Kenya, where depending on your looks, you were either sold for sex, labor, or your body parts were harvested. I continued to study the modus operandi of these criminals and through my intelligence network, I started understanding the magnitude of modern-day slavery. I could no longer be a spectator. So I had to align with my purpose and get involved in the fight against trafficking. So last year, June, I resigned from my role as CEO of Law Trust. I'm still the non-executive chairman, but I now had the capacity to co-found the V3 Foundation. Our foundation focuses on using technology to create awareness and identify and combat human trafficking. We separately registered a business in San Francisco that creates high-tech solutions to mitigate global crime, and we also use the security technology in our foundation. I am a purpose-driven entrepreneur, and I will continue to leverage my unique experience in life to effect change and to create a better world for everyone. Remember, today's struggle is tomorrow's strength. Be nobody but yourself. When you have a clear sense of who you are, everything else will follow naturally.
That was incredibly moving and inspiring. Thank you to Christi for sharing her words of wisdom. No matter where you are in your career, Christi's story is such a powerful one for us all. The courage, the perseverance, the leadership she has shown is just incredible. And the example Christi sets for women in particular, all over the world, is so motivating. I love the quote by John Quincy Adams, who said, "If your actions inspire others to learn more, dream more, do more, become more, you are a leader." And I believe Christi has shown that you can trailblaze while still following your purpose. A big thanks again to Christi for sharing her story, and I hope for our finalists, Christi's message drives you forward and provides inspiration for you to trailblaze, lead, and inspire others.